Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to LEGO Worlds. Because this game kind of autosaves, we just had to pause as we entered this new level, so we'll be in the middle of the dialogue, so let's start.
Its thought bubble indicates how many gold bricks you need until you get to the next reward. But not all worlds have a lot of gold bricks on them. Once you think you've collected as many gold bricks as you can from a world, feel free to travel to another one to find more.
So basically, it's trying to be an open world game.
Ah, the sky's falling in. Oh, my mistake. It's one of those meteorites again. Cool.
We haven't gotten a storyline explanation as far as whether the meteorites include items that you once owned, or if they're just random meteorites of things. So they were talking about this thought bubble. I did notice on this map, which is, I guess I should have mentioned, is this like micro-scaled map. It indicated somewhere around 75 out of 400 items had been discovered. I'm wondering if there's just a lot of stuff that's actually happening under the surface of these worlds, like something like a Minecraft map. There might be some new skill or something where we start digging up the ground and finding all kinds of new things.
You should check out that meteorite crash site. There's bound to be something useful there.
So what I want to do going forward is press the X button instead of the A button. And try my best to have enough studs around always to unlock things as we find them. If we can play that way,
check out that meteorite crash site.
then
there's bound to be something useful there.
Then we will not have to like hassle or struggle as much with going through the inventory. Alright, where was the meteorite? Once we start looking around and not seeing glowing
meteorite crash site,
discovery,
to be something useful there.
Like this caves woman has some kind of quest. The quests don't feel like they're going to be particularly as natural as they could be. Maybe they won't even have quests for you. This is there it is.
You should check out that meteorite crash site. There's bound to be something useful there.
Really help but realize that there are other LEGO games, TT LEGO games, that have that have kind of done quests better. TT used to stand for Traveler's Tales, but I think at this point it just stands for TT. In most people's minds, at least.
You should check out that meteorite crash site. There's bound to be something useful there.
Right, so now we have a landscape tool.
You've unearthed the landscape tool. Use it to reshape the world around you.
Raise a mountain, create a canyon, or flatten an entire village to build another one.
So that's going to let you really destroy things if you wanted to. Of course, this really highlights how easy it would be to grief other people. And having a cutscene play like that is how an MMO would almost certainly have to work as far as any tutorials, is that the character would just look like they were AFK to everybody else as they're being shown a video. Video doesn't have to be in a window. It could have been a full screen fade out to a tutorial. But it does definitely give me the feeling that what we're going to find is that there is just a different class of, oops, fell in the lava, well, in the water, unless all the water is just boiling hot water. Yeah, terrain seems like it is just a whole different class of character and type of thing. There may not be too much new going if you go area to area, like for these tutorial sections. Okay, so hold Y or put this away. I guess you just put it away to talk to him. She's stuck. You rescue. Give this.
You can choose either to raise or lower terrain. Whichever you go for really depends on the situation.
So, definitely does feel like you have a different type of experience. Right bump, up or down. It's a weird upside down like cone here. That just doesn't feel like that should have worked that way.
Please dig the landscape responsibly.
So when we finished all that, you have raise lower in specific ways, which you kind of think the square would be probably the better way to do this. Just to hold the X down and build the square downward. Or, I guess maybe you really just want a flatten tool. Oh boy, is this camera angle rough though. I suppose that's what I was supposed to have done. That would have made a lot more sense. Of course, if I'm just gonna go down like this, seems like you could size up a lot of stuff and just go down lower and lower and lower. Go ahead and unlock this character. And yeah, I definitely have to question some things, like as far as, is there, and those pressing Y and then pressing Y to delete again is the wrong key combination. You have to hold down, hit B, come over to the landscape tool. Is there a way in which you can get rid of water? Or does water just always spread at a certain height from the edges? Yeah, it seems like unlike Minecraft, there is no water spread at all. So that maybe that's a different tool or what, but yeah. So the terrain tool itself is not going to let you do this. Let's see. Down we go. All the way down to the bottom. And let's see if there's a Minecraft bedrock to this. Or what? It definitely feels like this is designed in such a way that you could build your whole world as tall or as deep as you'd would want. Alright, so the camera can't go any further down. And by the looks of it, there is just straight bedrock. That I guess we will jump down here. Yeah. From the looks of the cameras and manipulating the camera through the walls, it definitely does seem like there's just a bedrock element. And looking at the map now, let's see. Zoom out. Zoom over, zoom in. There should be, where this P1 symbol is, some indication if that had really destroyed the world, and it seems like it does have the smallest of indication, but one giant hole on the minifig scale turns into a 1x1 flat square on its side in the micro scale. From the looks of it, it's oddly not really representative of what the game is. And we'll just skydive. The skydive animation is straight out of the Lego Marvel superheroes game, which that was a cool feature certainly to introduce. But if you're going to compare this to Lego Marvel superheroes, then you have a big problem, because Lego Marvel superheroes had way more quests and a way bigger Manhattan open world, and it was more natural. We need to find out if there's going to be races in this game too, because it feels like every level should have probably a race. If they introduce dungeons consistently in every level, that would be something new that we haven't seen. Or randomly spawned dungeons, that'd be interesting. She's stuck. You rescue, may give you this.
Cave people. They do tend to get themselves stuck. Now, if you had a tool that could remove terrain, you could help.
Okay. So, she is stuck under the ground. You know what this voice actor is, come to think of it? Is he sounds exactly like the voice actor in a Double Fine game called The Cave. I wouldn't be surprised if he actually is the same guy. And that might be very well the reason why
Any
he
shape
doesn't.
will do. It's down to personal preference.
Like the narrator voice actor in The Cave is telling a darker tale Actually, he doesn't sound too off from doing an impression of Vincent van Gogh. Probably for most of the later generation of people recognizable as Vincent van Gogh in the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. If you're old enough to remember that. Although kids these days wouldn't really remember that. Interesting, there's eyes on that. Okay. So if I add oops. That doesn't really work. See, you kind of need a stair step tool. Let's try the smooth tool. Smooth. Smooth. So the smoothing tool will just slowly flatten the terrain and make it all slanted enough that the character could walk on their own. She's not walking until I stop smoothing. I like the little spin around in a circle animation of getting a gold brick. That's certainly something that could have been improved upon. Let's see. We now have eyeballs. We now have ivy. You're going to run into this problem though, where you're going to have just potentially terrain floating in the air. And I could see some people, if they really got into this game, being incredibly protective of what they created. And I could see some people, probably more rightfully so, not caring one bit and just leaving things broken. Thing I would like to find here is treasure chests. Like, because a single treasure chest could do us quite well instead of potentially having to run around looking for branches and things to break. Everything is fairly black in this environment. It's a lot of volcanic ash. So it almost feels like with the terrain tool, this game is specifically designed to encourage you to just flatten this world and start all over again. I could also see the idea of the world having major changes happen to it in this adventure mode. Instead of loading into different levels, perhaps just one big world that has a volcano erupt, and then that's your next quest. He's stuck. You rescue me, give this.
The landscape tool gives you many choices. Now, choose how to rescue this poor fellow.
Yeah. It's asking you to choose, but it's not really giving you a nice tutorial on how this... Let's see. Why did that not work? This game does not work particularly well. Replace with different color. Which color would definitely play a role.
Select a shape.
Yeah. This definitely feels like this is a thing that they should have required you to do in one move, and you're going to have to really think things through
When an area has been flattened,
first
it's
when you're setting
perfect for
things up.
building on. Be careful though, because the landscape tool can flatten entire buildings if you're not careful.
And seems to me like the only reason that was a female saving a male caveman is because they wanted you to be able to unlock the female caveman. Although, I mean, you had to split it some way, I guess. It seems to me that's very cartoony. Just burning your butt on lava and getting bounced up. Oh, I guess they've broken it down to 2 females trying to save males and 2 males trying to save females. Even. That seems fair enough. He's stuck, you rescue me, give you this.
There must be a way to bridge this lava. You could use the landscape tool to place some bricks.
Yeah. I feel like I've accidentally ignored the instructions, or the game has just let me ignore the instructions. There we go. And if you can just make a cube of bricks and it is just a kind of random assortment of different gray bricks.
You could build an island out
Interesting,
of
the
sea,
game hitched
or
up there for a
stairway
second
to
as the
clouds.
achievement unlocked.
Your tools, your decision.
Not the micro stuttering issue,
That
but
volcano looks
it
dangerous.
definitely shows.
You might want to take this opportunity to get out of here.
Yep. Yeah. Stone and terrain apparently will just always be an assortment. And this might be a case of visual effects loading in, it causing that stutter on top of it loading in other things. So we can use the ship and leave. Nope, we're starting to have that stuttering issue.
You found all of the gold bricks on this world. Well done. Time to move on to another world.
I would say it feels like there's not as much here as there should be. I wonder if we'll ever see any real day-night cycles, or if we'll just have sometimes it's dusk, sometimes it's dawn. Wouldn't be surprised if there's a day-night cycle when you've collected everything. I guess there is probably going to be a water fill tool. That's the only thing that would really make sense. It seems very odd that there'd be no vehicles or anything else like that. And that there wouldn't be anything around these giant Moa heads. And pick up a spider and throw it, and it seems like the game may have saved after I did that. So there might be some achievement or something where you have to pick up multiple characters and throw them. Yeah, it definitely feels kind of like a dead world, though. Just feels like there should be more happening in the world, and we barely spent 30 minutes here on this level, so we pretty much need to do another level, I guess. It's really not even anything else that I could do. Like, we can check our inventory, and that seems like we have not found anything new in this level. And I'm hoping that these elements unlock when you have 15 gold bricks, but you don't lose 15 gold bricks, but it may not matter because we're collecting the gold bricks and you need a certain amount, it seems, to get to the next world, but you're not using them on the ship actually. And then if we go all the way through here, you still are just marking off the new things you found. Let's use the D-pad instead. There's a lot of stuff, but I don't know if there's that much stuff. There is potentially an alternate universe where this game became really popular and Minecraft didn't exist, and there would have just been like consistent MMO style support for this game, adding more content on top of more content. Okay, so this one was Prehistoric Peril. Original name was this number, which I don't know if there's going to be some code you can type in that number and get back to the original version of the world before I modified things. Seems like you just as easily start a new game to get to that, for what it's worth. Doesn't seem like there really is a reason to go here. And let's see. Now this world says there's 0 out of 400 whatever here. Well, this one says 43 out of 400. And this said 75 out of 400 before. So I almost wonder if there was like a healing factor to these worlds, and once you leave for even an hour or so, it starts to going back to its normal state. The Myst puzzle series had that issue, certainly, or design concept, where you would leave a world and come back to the world and all the puzzles would be reset automatically. Or yeah, it at least felt like that, or at least the online version of Myst Uru was that way, I think. There might be an idea around that, going back to the world and it just resets everything back to looking pretty. This is an example, certainly, of a game, and Lego in general has this problem, where you want it to look pretty, and the odds of you making something looking better than the way the official Lego makers made it is extremely, extremely low. You're only going to make things worse. And that's true in real world Lego too. That's why most of the Lego sets I've built, I
What a delicious looking world.
want to just
Ice
put on a
creams,
shelf and never
cakes,
touch
and
again.
gingerbread
I don't
houses.
actually play with them.
Lovely.
Of course, I'm fairly old to be playing with Lego play sets anyways. And so most of the Lego sets that I buy are more model display sets designed to be put on a shelf after construction and never touched again. Of course, as soon as a kid gets anywhere close to your Lego, they're gonna take it apart and destroy it. And at that point you have to be the mature adult and take it in stride. Even if internally you're screaming at them. So what's the next thing? Copy tool. Yeah, and I guess the idea of copying here will probably play a big role.
Copy tool. The copy tool makes it easy to take copies of things you find. You can also use it to duplicate your own creations. Why only have one castle, pirate ship, or, that thingamajig, when you can have 2, or 3, or
Interesting they didn't just call it a
176,
minifig.
my lucky number. Just place the box in the middle of what you'd like to copy, expand and adjust, then place the new copy anywhere you like.
You can also save creations to the My Builds gallery, so you can take them to other worlds.
Clearly that was a added line of dialogue there. And yeah, that would be the whole idea, certainly, is that you would spend some time creating things in an MMO style world, and then you would be copying other people's creations, making slight modifications, and I guess it would be questionable whether they actually did make a algorithm that could tell one copy of something, or if somebody making something offensive then had somebody else copy it, save it as a model, and place it all 100 times all over the world, would they have to individually scan every slight modification there? This is very candy focused, and had this been built more around the Lego movie, you would almost certainly expect to see Unikitty around here. Let's see. She wants me to... I don't think I have that ability. That item. And this is not swimmable so much. I can't help but assume that there's going to be a very large difference between the pre-built stuff, though, and the stuff I would spend the time building if I was to go deep into playing this game. That's really what needs to happen, though, is people would have needed to go very deep building this. That is interesting that the character just pulled itself upward. I've never seen that in a Lego game. It definitely is a case that Lego games, when this was coming out, were getting a little stale. And played out the same mechanics with only slight variations had been done over and over again. Good candy cane stuff could have also been very Christmassy themed. I think Lego does kind of a good job with its Christmas sets, but does a pretty poor job of making them available throughout the year, which almost makes sense until you potentially want to buy a Christmas set and have it ready for Christmas, or when the Christmas sets come out and then they're sold out from previous years. As of this recording, there's a Santa Claus sleigh set that's been very difficult to find and get since it was released last Christmas. Here's a treasure chest. We'd kind of forgotten about these. Must be standing on the wrong side of it. So there might have been a treasure chest in the prehistoric world. Wow. So we just found the paint tool.
No need to be green with envy. You now have the paint tool to change the color of anything in the world. Just choose a color and slap it all over the place. Go crazy.
That's
Well,
not how
if
Legos
you
work,
want to.
but
Or
it's a good idea.
just paint one brick at a time. Make your world a brighter place. And notice that changing a brick's color can sometimes change its characteristics. Paint it black. Paint it pink. Paint it lava.
Interesting. The audio kind of clipped there. So you have this nice white wall next to that. I like that you have these guns, as it were. Why is this? Oh, the character. I'm not controlling the character, am I? I'm controlling the cursor. The character is just kind of walking around. So it seems to stay mostly on one angle. Let's see. We can make it stone. We can make it dark gray. We can. Wouldn't these special items random colors? Seems to just randomize it. Though, that's not really what I was thinking that would do. Soft brush, hard brush, soft brush, hard square. A lot of these are just like Photoshop elements that they're trying to emulate, and they're not really doing it in a great way. Maybe these interfaces would make more sense if you're playing on a tablet, which I could see this being targeted towards being played on a tablet too. I'm not seeing anything that says lava though. So this bright blue was supposed to turn it into water, which it doesn't feel like it really did. Feels like you may have to unlock more paints later. Let's see. Please, can you paint my house? Something colorful would be sweet.
It's a shame when something looks that plain. It really could do with a splash of color. It can be
So I guess
tricky
there's a
to
whole
decide
tutorial.
when there are so many colors and materials to choose from. But choose you must.
Nougat? And let's see. The problem here, I would say, is that the controls are awkward, to say the least, and you're just kind of flying around, even if the gun doesn't seem like it can actually hit those surfaces, and you can't hold down the A button to paint. Particularly well. And move the right stick. So I'm having to actually use like my left. I'm having to use my left hand to move the right analog stick while I'm holding down The A button. Is there any other way to fire? No. Zoom out and zoom in is left trigger and right trigger, and they're not even telling you that much. So the controls are wonky for a game that would have been targeting and should have been targeting consoles. But only until you're done? Yes. It just asks if you're done.
Another challenge overcome and a just reward.
Yeah, we can see we don't have the Lego magnet though. We may just never have that. So this one asks us to paint again. I don't know what we could do there. Let's see. Press B, then hold Y, then get the copy tool. And then almost certainly what you're going to do is, if you are going to copy something, you're going to have to zoom out for anything of any reasonable size. And you're going to probably want to try and be what did I just do? It says A seems to bring you into a nudge mode. And then that's your model. No, maybe A is not a nudge. But you have to hold A. It's not really what I want to do. I want to increase the size. And then I want to go down. Or increase the height. And go down. Increase the height. And go down. Oh, this is so bad. Like, the controls here are pretty awful. And you're going to really run into issues just trying to center things and squeeze things in and getting elements and edges and not getting other elements and edges. Okay, so A is save, which then brings you to this part. And then I guess this is where this shows. Here's what you've got. Then X lets you move it. If you hold X, you can nudge things in different ways to really try and just crop out as much as possible, because clearly they don't want to spend too much they don't want to spend too much space trying to save a file or save extra elements. Okay, my model, and then visually this little snapshot looks awful as it's rendering in some other lower polygon way. It feels like it might have a blur on it intentionally. A to save. There you go. We did that once in case there was a achievement around that. it really feels like you should just be able to suck up things with the discovery tool. This might also be a case where quality assistance players, if there really were even that many of them to start with, may have gotten very used to playing with a late game save file, and because it was a late game save file, they may not have realized how much, or remembered how much discovery actually needed to happen to start with. Yep. Again, flat tool. Yep. And that just flattened everything. And it does seem to flatten the colors in kind of a awkward, balanced way. Let's see. Let's talk to this guy. My gingerbread house wants another house just like this. Do you know a way to make a copy?
Houses standing all alone are a sorry sight. There should be at least one more to keep it company.
Okay. Is that... feels like it is put it in here in particular just with the box around it.
You can adjust the finer details of your model here. Add bricks, remove bricks, or just leave it as it is, if you're happy with it.
What does the menu button do? It just turns off the things so you can see it. So this is a like 3D model viewer also, which all the Lego games kind of need that, and a lot of Lego games don't have that.
Frame it, save it for later.
If I was to hit X, it's just gonna pop up a place where I can add a control, enter on the keyboard.
The discovery tool can place anything from your collection, including any models that you've saved.
I pick up this cat. Nope. So then right bump over here, brick builds, my model 2. Why do we want this? I can't zoom out anymore because the camera is crashing into the tree. Okay. I think that's good enough. And just pressing A will place it. Even though the animation takes longer. So that was like the tutorial copy and paste.
Just saving time.
It's really hard to feel like the game would be cheating at all, considering in sandbox mode, there really isn't a goal. And almost certainly, LEGO Worlds probably suffered from that issue, where they probably tested LEGO Worlds with little kids who are used to playing other LEGO games, and got the feedback that it doesn't feel like a video game because there's no goals, which is the exact same feedback that might have ruined something like Minecraft had Mojang, when they were creating Minecraft, really listened to that kind of feedback. Clearly, LEGO Worlds was for the much smaller fan base of the adult fans of Legos, the AFOLs, but there is a reason that you can cater to that smaller group, that more niche group, in that you also have the adult fans of Legos spending way more on Legos than kids do, or their parents do. A parent might very well buy their kids 2 or 3 $40 $50 set. I'm upset that this is not bouncy, actually. Yeah, but an adult fan of Lego will easily spend $400 or $500 a year, if not way more, on Lego. And that's flattened. That was showing up on the map as a big green jelly, and I guess that's all it was doing, was showing up on the map as a big green jelly. That there actually wasn't anything more to it. And I guess if you ever did need more studs, you could simply go back to the first world and check to see if those treasure chests are refilled. Somebody ate the wall. Can you build a new one for me? Accept. And this time he's just handed me a tool. Interesting. So there's like only one more tool left.
This is the build tool, giving you ultimate control over the fundamental building blocks of the universe. You can increase your collection of bricks by capturing those pesky troublemakers. Oh, and if you want a house in a hurry, then use the planner tool. Simply select a starting point, then drag to create walls, and then finally a roof. Splendid! You'll have that castle built faster than you can say, "Wouldn't it be marvelous to build a castle really fast?"
A lot of these mechanics are things that you would have
Building
seen.
one brick at a time. The old-fashioned way. Now you can make exactly what you want to, in every detail.
See, this is definitely something that it does not exist in any of the other Lego games. And arguably, I don't think they're going to implement it particularly well either. Let's see. Are we really going to just place red bricks? Just zoom in here. Like, arguably, what we would want to have happen here is, oops. Like, how do you remove? You do it that way. And that clipped into this brick and split it into a whole bunch of other bricks, which that's not real world. I think what I would like to do, if they were going to do this, and technology is probably not there, is I would like to have a augmented reality camera that just watched you build with real bricks, which would still require you to have real bricks to build something like this, or at least have a 3D scanner that would send you this way. I think it is also worth mentioning here, this is not the right way to build a brick wall. The right way to build a Lego wall would be to integrate it on the sides and stagger things. So there should be something like this, and then this, and then this and this. You won't have any structural support if you don't build that way. And you have to remember, these are plastic bricks, so it is kind of important to have structural support. Then you could come back up here and stagger things again And if you didn't want the red brick showing on the side, messing up this picturesque section here, you would use 2x2s instead of 2x4s. Apparently the game has already determined that I've put enough bricks, so it was just a certain amount here. And you wouldn't want to build a wall that is just flat like this unless this was just the absolute backside of your build. And yeah, definitely in the real world you probably wouldn't have that many red bricks extra, unless you're just buying a lot of the tubs of bricks, which I don't feel like buying the tubs of bricks is ever a good investment compared to buying the custom sets, but they sometimes can be cheaper for sure. Then you could just go back and repaint this with the paint tool, which is something you couldn't do in the real world. So if there was a scanner or an augmented reality experience, it would have to have like the idea that you build something and then you take a picture of that and save that part, and then you take apart that part and then you make another part of the wall. I would definitely want to put a window in here. Let's just, for comparison, see what they did over here. They did Lego bricks in kind of a random assortment, which structurally wouldn't be that good, but it is a small enough build that you probably could get away with that. And then they have this giant window as a feature to see inside what otherwise would just be a box and potentially play with. I wouldn't be surprised if this was a real world set that you could take the roof off to play with the minifigs inside. You have these nice shutters as a decoration. You have all kinds of little extras and decorations here to give splashes of color. And yeah, she's like literally hanging from a ledge there. Let's do that again. How did I get the character? Can she hang from a ledge, or does she just pull herself up from a ledge? Yeah, this is a fairly generic build, or small build, but very pretty, very colorful. There is actually a Lego gingerbread house set that comes with Lego gingerman figures and a Lego gingerbread baby and mother and father, and it is, I would say, about 3 times as big as this and has a lot more detail. And that is something you probably would want to see in this game, is that as they supported it, they would put in at least the models of sets that are no longer available for purchase. Oh great. Are you finished? Yes. But yeah, you almost need like a VR headset
more and more different kinds of bricks
instead of
as you
augmented
explore
reality.
New Lego worlds.
Yeah.
Explorer builder.
Yeah. I could see a VR headset trying to actively pick up
bricks. This will power up the rocket
up
and give it
bricks and
enough
build them.
energy to reach an unlimited number of new worlds. Get back to the rocket if you're ready for adventure.
Construction workers just up there. And I guess the question is, are there any troublemakers in this world to find more bricks by catching the troublemakers? I suppose the troublemakers are the races in the game. That's my guess. But yeah, I cannot help but feel like I've made what was a very nicely made world a lot worse by flattening areas and poorly painting walls and poorly building,
Your rocket
constructing
can
walls.
take you to new worlds. Head back there when you want to seek out adventure elsewhere.
The we have a butterfly. Apparently that cat will follow us. If we have a butterfly, so you'd think that there would be some quest around that. But no. I guess the question we could ask ourselves is, as far as the inventory, we take an orange fish. Can we can hit things with fishes, but not the people. But yes, the animals. But I think the cat will probably run away too fast for me to actually kill it. Like, or maybe not. We can aggro some people and just punch people, and that's something that you would see in a regular Lego game, not something that you particularly would expect to see in this game. There. And I can sit in the barrel, but some other player would have to roll the barrel, and I don't seem like I can move the barrel normally like you would think. You have to instead hold the A button, and in holding the A button, it doesn't seem like you have the best amount of control. The B button goes backwards. It definitely kind of feels like what happened here is they may have put a new team in charge of making a different kind of Lego game, because and that's the way it always feels like with Lego games, is that you have an A team that makes one Lego game that's really good, and then you have a B team that seems to do a completely different thing. Not 100%. It doesn't feel like just to be experimental, but because they've got some new employees who've never made a Lego game before, and they've decided to throw them to the sharks, as it were. With each episode, we might as well play as a new character. And we don't have to always be a female. At the core of it, though, I imagine, had this even picked up, the vast majority of players would be playing as just the pre-made characters and never go into the customizer, which is true for all Lego games, really, in that they give you this opportunity for you to customize characters in every Lego game, and you almost never would want to play it that way. And even if in most Lego games, if you did play as a customized character, you probably wouldn't know what special abilities you would have, because in most Lego games, like the Lego Star Wars games, there would be people that could use the Force or the dark side of the Force or a lightsaber or jump higher. And while you can often give those abilities to a custom character, you wouldn't be able to visually recognize it at first glance. We have not found anything new with the inventory, nor have they really even talked about the inventory. The build tool, I don't feel like we played enough with. Yeah, we never even went into this menu. A lot of these bricks are kind of like your core contingent of Lego bricks, and some of these bricks by modern days are starting to be less used. Like this flower brick is the newer flower brick, whereas there was an older flower brick that isn't being used as much. I'm just building everything in red by default is a choice. White window, farm gate, white door, red door, flower pot window, and purple window. I guess it's odd that these are labeled as new when everything else isn't labeled as new. And then Stonehouse kits, as far as planner tools, just a lot of elements of a broken down stone house. Then a Japanese house kit. I wouldn't be surprised if the reason why these are marked as new is because these were part of the DLC. That very well may be the case. Yeah. The question here is, where can you just build the whole thing? It wouldn't be in the brick tool, I suppose. It would be in the construction gun. Medium blue. There's more color options, or slightly more color options in this. Yep. I think the camera kind of clipped through this as I was in the menu because my character either got bumped into or walked around on his own.